back with another episode of the crossover with your host Ravi and B. It's been a long time, but we're back again. We're going to get through the midpoint season, the NBA season, discuss these all-star picks, and get in some other pressing topics that are going on in the association. Ravi, Eastern Conference, man, thoughts?
Eastern Conference, and it's I don't have any issue with the starting lineup. The only switch I would have made was to put in Kyle Lowry at the point guard position and have Irving coming off the bench. But aside from that, I mean, I think everything pretty much fell into place.
I see. Okay, I tend to agree with you. I have no issues with the team. I'm glad Raptor got in the starting lineup because I think a Raptor should have been in the starting lineup. So that was good to see. I am happy to see Giannis getting love because I didn't think he would get love, but I think just before we were talking about the way the team's being selected this year with a third, and a third. I think in the old way where the fans purely voted, fans like to say they're these big hardcore followers of the league, you know, but when it's all said and done, they still like to go with the name brand when it's all said and done. I thought in this case, in the old way, a Carmelo was stuck in or a Kevin Love. But hey, Giannis, I think, is the more deserving player at that front court position. So yay on that. You made a great point a few moments ago when we tried, we were doing some testing on this earlier about the players not maybe taking this as seriously as they should. You know, after playing and barking for so many years about what's going on with the selection for the players. So, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for years the players have been griping about the fans don't know what to talk about. The fans just they're not happy with the fan vote. And this year with the changes to the voting, there was some debate back and forth in terms of if people like the format, they prefer the old format.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you can see based on some of the results that came back in terms of who the players voted for. Some of them voted for themselves. Some of them voted for just scrub guys on the team that really have no place being on the ballot.
Right.
They're not taking it seriously as well. So if you're going to complain and call out the fans and complain about the system not working,
right,
when you get a voice or you get a chance to make a change there, you got to take advantage of that.
For sure. Western. Well, is there anything in the Eastern Conference reserves that kind of jumped out at you?
Read me out the reserve list.
Okay, so here's what we have here. Just quickly going through this. The reserves for the Eastern Conference. Here we go. So we have here the second: Paul George, Kevin Love, Kyle Lowry, Paul Millsap, Isaiah Thomas, Kemba Walker, John Wall.
I'm straight. I am good with their reserve list.
I agree. I think they went with the best players. They weren't worried about position. I think they could have picked another power forward or their center instead of going with the extra guard. Which would then make some real havoc of either cutting Wall or Kemba, who I think were getting those last spots. Yeah. And one of them would have lost out, and then you have the grouse we get every year, and take maybe a suspect power forward or center. I'm not even sure who you could pick out there.
Well,
who else would be left in the front? Drummond? I don't think so. No,
you would just be picking it based on position.
Right. There's no one else I think you could make a deal with. I mean, I guess you could go back to Milwaukee and pick Parker. He's only 19 or so or 20. So he's a possibility. But I'm not sure I would put him over Kemba or put him over John Wall. He's playing on his mind lately, Wall. So.
What we're seeing in the East is a changing of the guard, Brian, because no Melo, no Wade, and your boy LeBron is the oldest player in the All-Star game. The seasoned vet.
Yeah, exactly. The king rightfully on his throne. On that note, let's move to the West. The West has some interesting picks as well, too. So here's what we have in the West. As we know, we have Anthony Davis, Durant, Kawhi, Steph, and Harden. Now, the question was always going to be at that guard position. Because there's 3 guards for 2 spots, essentially.
Yes.
And Steph, in this case, has the popularity, so I figured Steph was going to get a spot. The question...
But hold on. I mean, so I've heard a lot of arguments talking about, Steph, should he be in there? Should he not be in there? Yes, he has the popular vote, if you want to say that. But, I mean, his numbers are pretty good.
Oh, no, his numbers are pretty good, but I think why people say so is that if you're really picking on pure performance, Harden and Russ should get the 2 starting spots. Slightly ahead of Curry. I'm not saying Curry can make the team. Of course Curry can make the team. But as a starting spot, if I had to say who's the best point guard playing this year in the Western Conference, that's harder than Westbrook. I mean, Curry's numbers are great. I'm not saying they're not, but I just think in this case here, what those guys are doing, and probably because, hey, that's the advantage and the disadvantage of having like stacked teams. Yeah, that's the part where it cuts the other way in this case here.
Well, to me, it's a little more impressive that he's actually putting up those types of numbers with a stacked team.
Oh,
you can look at it from that perspective as well, right?
I totally get where you're coming from. As I said before, he's going to make the team. I'm just looking at Russell Westbrook, for example, almost averaging a triple-double, and Harden putting up some like historic lines in this case here on a team that no one thought. I mean, people thought he used to be decent. He didn't think to be this good.
No, I
right.
Yes,
so
you're absolutely
right.
You're absolutely right on Harden.
Okay, and even Westbrook, I mean, was like, yeah, they might be a little 500 team and stuff like that. They're going to win 50-plus games. Okay, they're going to win 50-plus games on that team.
I mean,
how? I don't know, but they are. I don't know.
I have no argument with Harden. With Westbrook, my only concern, and I've watched a handful of games with Westbrook, and yes, he's averaging a triple. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from his performance at all. But I've seen a handful of OKC games this year, and to me, it looks like in the first half, the bigs get out of his way so he can get his boards up, and in the second half, that's when he goes on the scoring spree. So I think he's a guy that's very aware of the stat line.
Well, what you say is that. I might say it's pacing. Why? I mean, to me, that seems like classic pacing to me.
Could be.
You know, your boy for years. Your boy for years was saying, yeah, you all have your shots in the first half. Everyone's running the triangle to perfection. Everyone's getting shots, and Steve Kerr knocked down shots, and BJ having a little fun with the elbow. And then when we get that second half, it's like, dudes, you just stay in the corner, okay? And triangle be damned, okay?
But what I'm trying to say is, I see the bigs in OKC almost getting out of his way so he can get those boards instead of them to pad those stats. That's what I'm saying.
That's a tough charge, Ravi.
Hey, man.
That's a tough charge.
I'm not calling it out like the entire, but I have seen a fair share of OKC games to be able to make that comment.
Wait.
Those are my observations.
People love to hate on Westbrook and love to hate on LeBron, guy. Good Lord, they love. This is the appropriate day to do this show after they play against each other today. Boy, I tell you, when they're long gone, boy, you guys gonna remember these days and say, you know what, are bad. You guys put up like.
Let me tell you something. Just because you point out a fault doesn't mean you're hating on them. But those two can definitely fight for they can have a one-on-one for the title for most passive-aggressive superstar. But that's a different conversation for a different time. More
Mr. Sensitive over here, Durant. Give me a break.
Oh, don't worry. You can be the dark horse.
Right. Give me a break. Mr. Sensitive. So Anthony Davis gets on the team. He's putting up big numbers. And, he seems to be at least fairly healthy for him. So he gets on there. Interesting.
I like that. Fairly healthy for him.
Yeah.
That's key.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out, Anthony. Glad to see you for at least a majority of the season this year for a change. It's good to see you. Oh, jeez. You talking about some dude, man, that needs to get some Robitussin or something in him, man. Good Lord. So the reserves, we're looking at DeMarcus, Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol was a little interesting. I guess, Memphis' record deserves to have someone there. So, maybe, that makes sense. Draymond getting on the team. Clay, Westbrook, and DeAndre Jordan was an interesting one from the Clippers. With Chris Paul being hurt, so I guess he's the Clippers representative in this case for that. I don't have any issue with that. Definitely a lot more bigs. You see they're going with power with the West. Yeah. There's a few other guys, I guess. I'm running my head through here. Dame, in this case, Portland technically is in a playoff position, but, I mean, you're under 500, like, really. But they get Anthony Davis under 500, so and DeMarcus Cousins under 500. So why not Lillard as a possibility?
Yeah.
Who else we're looking at here in the West? I'm just rolling.
I think I would have definitely, for me, I would have gone with a guy like maybe Lillard over DeAndre.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot Hayward as well too from Utah. So no slight there for Utah fans there. But I mean, the Staples Tower could be considered in this case here to be if you're going to go that way. Winning team. He could be DPOI when it's all said and done. Like, I mean, he's putting up some really big time numbers some games, man. Could put Gobert in there as a possibility. Rudy Gobert. So you got different guys in here that I'm thinking that, Aldridge was the one I thought is the shocking one.
Yes.
That was a very interesting thing. And you wonder that if it was the old way, would Aldridge be on the team? I suspect he would. It makes me wonder how much of his percentage. I mean, obviously you get the reserves. Well, let's put it this way. I think the reserves are still picked the same way as they were before, which is coaches and stuff like that.
The coaches.
I do find it interesting that Aldridge got left off the team. I'm not sure. I mean, Aldridge has had some issues of doing some griping and complaining and stuff like that. And I'm wondering in this case here, this is a little message to him because his numbers and the team he's on, for San Antonio not to have two All-Stars on the team is a little shocking.
Yep.
For a team that's got the third best record in the league, the second best record in the league, and only have one guy, and the other team is only a couple of games back, and this guy's got 4. Just saying.
But you see, that's where, I mean, this is where I think we need to have a broader discussion on the All-Star voting. Because obviously, coaches have agendas. Coaches have biases and grudges as well.
Yeah, I would say so, because I would take DeMarcus Cousins off that team and put Aldridge on there.
I totally agree with you on that.
Oh, yeah, that one there, LA getting screwed a little bit on that one.
They've made, like I said, they've made some changes to the voting system this year. But for me, I mean, I don't anticipate they're going to continue to tinker with it moving forward. But I mean, I think they should look at this as like a work in progress, not necessarily a final structure for it.
Right. Okay, let's move on here. So we gave her also a quick moment here on the Bulls saga that broke loose late this week. So Rondo pretty much had enough here yapping from Butler and Wade, talking out of their mouth on one side and then doing other stuff behind the scenes. Maybe Rondo wasn't the right messenger for what happened in this case here. But you want to sum this up here, what happened?
Well, I went and I bought a lottery ticket. I checked to see if it was a full moon outside because I never thought I'd see a day where myself and Rajon Rondo would be seeing eye to eye on an issue. But I think we all know after a big loss there, you had Butler, you had Wade calling out the team in the media. Wade pretty much saying, he can look at Butler and Butler's doing his job. Butler can look at him and Butler can say he's doing his job, but he can't say that about the rest of the guys. And he doesn't think the rest of the guys want it as bad. And obviously that rubbed the rest of the team the wrong way. The young guys, and I mean Rondo's the other veteran on the team. And I mean I really liked his response to it. I think a lot those issues should be kept in house. I don't think it's something that should be voiced to the media. I think you should address that as a team with the coaching staff and your teammates. And I think Wade, for him to say that, him coming to Chicago as a veteran, as a champion, to be an example to a certain extent for the younger guys. Here's a guy who is sitting out practices, resting certain games, and then choosing to call out the young guys for not playing. And the young guys are coming back and say, hey man, like you're not out there practicing every practice session with us. You're kind of handpicking and choosing which games you want to play and which games you want to sit out in. I think a few Fridays ago there was a game where they played in Chicago and they beat Cleveland. And Wade played that game, and then that was the first of the back-to-back. I think the next game was Dallas, and he chose to sit out that game. And I think Rondo Rondo made some comments, right? Because it's like, hey, you want to play against your buddy LeBron, and you didn't. Not only did he not play in the Dallas game, he didn't even travel with the team.
Well, yeah, I think it was all the favorable type of little side benefits that Wade and I guess to Alexis Butler was getting. I think two things in me I find interesting in this. One, I said before, is Rondo the right messenger because Rondo's had a lot of issues with coaching and stuff like that. But I think when you look at it, the only other person that could say something to some extent would be Taj Gibson. But Taj Gibson in this case doesn't have, he doesn't have
the gravitas.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to say about Rondo, Rondo's like a 3-time All-Star in this case, won a ring. He can still kind of say what he has to say. He's a bit of a renegade. He's a bit of a different type of dude. But I think for the reason why he is that type of guy, he could care less. This guy was getting up in Kevin Garnett's grill. You think he's losing sleep over Jimmy Butler? So like, he's losing. This guy was giving the big three grief. He's losing sleep over this. So I think what makes it interesting was like he was speaking on behalf of the young guys, because none of them can take that type of position. They'll get ripped like crazy by the media, by the NBA, association, industry. But I think Rondo said, I'm willing to take those arrows in this case for that point. Second point is the fact that he called out, in this case, Wade and all that type of stuff, the antics and stuff, that makes me chuckle. Because essentially, we've been saying this for years about one of the reasons why LeBron left Miami. Because Wade here pretty much having little picnics when it suited him, in this case, when he wanted to play games, when he didn't want to play games, pulling out games at the last second. Now that's his buddy, so you want to really put him under the bus. But that was a big reason why he left, is to say, you know what? And then we had a podcast talking about this. When the dude decided he wanted to get in shape because he wanted to get ready for his wedding. Okay? Yes. I sat there just dumbfounded like this. Are you kidding me? Like, this is now when you want to get in shape? Mind you, folks, all you Wade supporters, he played almost the whole season last year. Okay? In the playoffs, he was putting like, about 24 a night. Okay? With no, playing back-to-backs, and was able to play all the games, okay, and and lost weight in this case here, looking spry and things like that. And I'm sitting there going like, wait a second, now you're gonna be putting this effort into this in this case here. Pretty much you're just coasting on a hammock, when Bosh and LeBron were there. But now it's like, oh, okay, now I'll actually try and actually get in shape again. So I kind of chuckle now that someone actually finally called him out for all the fraudulent behavior he's been pulling for years.
Well, I mean, you look at the bigger picture of this. I know they had a team meeting on Friday, player-only meeting, and I think Wade practiced yesterday with the team, is one of the reports that I saw. But, I mean, I think the fact that this has gone public, this has blown up, and it's obvious that the locker room is divided. And I think, unfortunately, Hoiberg might get, I think he might get the axe. And Gabrielle, I mean, I wouldn't do too much more home decorating if I were you.
No, there's always been that rumor about him going to Cleveland, but we'll see. It ain't that far down the street. She can stay in the Shy.
I think if he had a do-over, I think if Wade had a do-over, he would say, hey, that extra, the extra $6 million that I was getting from Chicago, I would just stay in Miami.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. Anything you learn about Wade, Wade's got way too much pride. No. That would never happen. Never. He will find a team, the Knicks, he would not go back to Miami. Never.
I think when he saw Dion Waiters hit that shot to beat Golden State, and then Dion Waiters running back down the court and saying, this is mine. You don't think that got the weight a little bit? Wade County.
You know what? Hey, you know what? You just got to let that slide on, man. It is what it is. But you know what? I think if I was Wade, I kind of agree with on that front. I think he got done dirty. And if I'm him, I'm like, you know what? Do what you got to do. I got to do what I got to do. And so I don't see him ever, that decision going back and say, yeah, I'll go back. No.
Man, nobody got done dirtier than LeBron when he left Cleveland.
Oh, I agree with that. But I'm just saying, I agree with that. But the thing is, LeBron was able to go back on his terms. Like, Wade will have no choice. But we can't go back on his terms. What way you gonna do? Go back? Wade can't go back on any terms. Only way Wade can go back is pretty much say, "I'm gonna play a game to retire." That's it.
All I'm saying, sometimes when it's cold out there, we know Chicago's cold. When you get that late night tech come through, I'm just saying.
Not happy, man. Not happy. Not Pat Riley's still there, man. You know what? We wanted. Who knows? Maybe we squeeze one out later this week. I'm sure LeBron might be still grousing by then. You can take your free shots in this case on LeBron.
Hey, it is not free shots, man. We just gotta call it like it is. I give him credit when credit's due, but I gotta call out the nonsense as is.
Hey, just trying to get these boys in shape. That's all it is, man. He did it last year, and you all get gross and this and that, and he knew what he's doing. And these guys need a wake-up call.
Hey, I mean, I would think, being a two-time champion before this, now a three-time champion, I would think that he would carry himself like a champion, act like a champion and take on all comers and deal with adversity, just as he dealt with the adversity being down 3-1 in the finals last year. You know, that's the LeBron I want to see and set that example for these guys in terms of how to carry themselves and defend their team.
You're going to put act like a champion in your theme music there. Act like a champion. Yeah. Look, he's LeBron guy. LeBron got to say what he got to say, and he got to do it his way. And that's always been the case. And in this case here...
Yeah, but you see, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
LeBron does it his way, and when his way doesn't work out, it's always someone else to blame.
Well, how?
It's always someone else to blame. He does it his way. He puts together his team. He gets the exact situation that he wants, and when it doesn't work out, it's always someone else.
I think what he's saying is, in this case here, he wants guys to be alert and get ready, and too many guys are coasting, in this case, looking for magazine covers, in this case, and not focusing on what they need to do. That's what he's trying to say.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he has to, from a leadership standpoint, I mean, I don't think he's played his best basketball all year.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Look, I don't think LeBron has been playing his best basketball all year.
I don't know about that.
I stand by those comments.
Why? Yeah, I don't know that.
Enough Cleveland games this year.
I don't know what that.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he sucks or he's playing horribly this year, but this is not LeBron James basketball that we're used to seeing.
Really? I look at the numbers, man. The dude's almost having 9 assists a game at 26 points or 27 points.
Yeah, but let's look at his turnovers.
Well, I think that's the point he's... in a roundabout way, I think he's making the same point you're making in this case here. I think he's saying, it's like, yo, be it another ball handler or guys need to step up. He's saying, listen, we're at a stage now where I shouldn't be handling the ball this much and playing...
Let's put in James Jones since
the James Jones thing, the James Jones thing's weak sauce. You know James Jones is weak sauce because everyone needs a guy to bend the bench to fill out the roster and for contract purposes. And you know so, and I know so. So we'll go with the James Jones thing.
Brian, I'm looking at my watch and I'm waiting for the Mario Chalmers train to roll through.
Hey, if you can knock down threes and handle the ball, you're right. At least Chalmers will do that. I know Chalmers give up more. I know Chalmers give up more assists than Irving right now. Good Lord.
Hey man, I said to you off camera, man. There weren't a lot of teams, lining up outside Chris Anderson and James Jones' door to give him contracts.
Hey, I said before, you mocked the roster changes last year. You mocked when he's giving grief to fellas last year.
No. What I'm saying is, this team that he has right now, I mean, obviously minus JR because he's injured.
That's a big piece.
Yeah, but he said they're top heavy. This is the same top-heavy team that you won a championship with that last year. So again, as defending champions, you have to handle the adversity and play through it. And I think by going to I kind of put this in the same category as the Wade thing, like going to the media and voicing your displeasure with the management and the front office and things like that. I think those things should have been kept in-house.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a fair point. What we don't know is if they were in-house, and in this case, they weren't listened to. We don't know that either.
Well, again...
We don't know that either.
Tristan got a max contract for averaging 8 points and 9 rebounds.
I agree.
Iman Shumpert got,
I agree.
JR got re-signed. So I think, they've been, from an outside perspective looking in, things have been getting done as per his life. Here's
my thing. I think the whole LeBron thing is more to do with the fact in this case about folks getting too comfortable. Be it roster guys or in this case the GM side. Folks getting too comfortable. And I think LeBron's smelling too much complacency across the board. It's like, oh, everyone's feeling good. Oh, we'll just turn on the switch, which every repeating team has to figure out and try to break that habit. And he's been through that already. Oh, everyone's good. We're on the cover of magazine. We're on XXL. We're on this. We're chilling on that. I'm on the radio show. I'm doing videos. I'm the GM. What do we have to do? Just your point. Hey, we just bring back the guys, bring back the band. We're good. And LeBron's like, no, it don't work that way because other teams are changing too. And you can't say, like, we're good and think that things are to be static. And I think that's the point he's saying to everybody. Yo, wake up, fellas. We ain't winning squat yet because everyone's got them ball penned into the finals and stuff like that. It's like, wake up, dudes. We ain't anywhere yet. And I think he's trying to get the GMs as well as his team and the coaching staff. Like, guys, probably the only other person saying, like, yo, I don't like how this is looking. Guys are feeling too sweet about themselves And I think the GM putting up his foot like thinking, oh yeah, I done my work. We signed everyone back and it's all good. Believe me, I've seen this before. The championship team with the Pistons, I've seen this where you get stale after a while. It's like, oh, everything's all right. Our team's changing. The league's changing. And you're sitting there going like, oh, we got our team. We're straight. You got to look and see how the teams in the league's moving. You got threats that you didn't expect to have threats. Houston's a threat you didn't have to deal with. You might have to look at that.
I think here, I mean, again, we don't know what conversations have happened, behind the scenes. But I suspect that GMs might have, I think what they're waiting for is as the season progresses, see which big name guys get bought out. Because I suspect there's going to be some guys getting bought out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Who's available coming down the stretch just before the playoff run.
And I think the other thing that hurts LeBron, true, the J.R. Smith hurts him a little bit for a little less. I mean, J.R.'s not a great ball handler, stuff like that per se. But I think the other thing I think he's thinking, because LeBron's always thinking about his own mileage and that speedometer that's going on. He's like, okay, at this stage here, we were doing a good job pacing my minutes and everyone's minutes. Now I'm playing minutes I haven't played since I was in year 3 in this case of this franchise. He's like, what the heck? And I don't blame him in this case here. Like what's going on here? So either the coaching staff or the GMs, everyone's gotten kind of fat, living off the hog a little bit. He's like, yo, dudes, so you're going your turnover thing. Yeah, that's going to start impacting your thing when you're playing 38 minutes and more than anyone else in the league. And you're playing every night chasing around Kawhi Leonard, whomever else, and Carmelo Anthony. And then I still got to handle the ball and stuff like that too. He's saying, like, we should be at a stage now. This should not be the case. I shouldn't be playing playoff LeBron minutes right now in the middle of January. And I think that's the point he's trying to tell them, like, dudes, you all need to step up and get this sorted out right now. Because don't be looking for me to save your bacon in the playoffs in this case here while I'm tapped out.
Well, I mean, I think that goes both ways. I think it's definitely on the front office to do what they need to do. But again, I think there's some complacency on the court as well that also needs to be figured out. So whether that's the players and the coaching staff as well, I think it's on both ends.
I say it, I'll say it again. There's nobody in this league, and we take it so much for granted, that does more for their team than LeBron James. Period. I don't care who you want to bring. Period. This dude's usually playing the best offensive player on the other side. He's the ball handler. He still got to score 26 or 27 a night. He's usually grabbing about 8 boards. And oh, by the way, he's still got to be half a coach on the court too. And I'm sitting there going like, and he's playing the most minutes in the league. And some nights he might be playing a chasing around point guard. The next night he might be playing someone center. The next night he might be playing a small forward in his actual position. There's no one else in the league I can think of as doing that. Nobody. And we just kind of shrug our shoulders like, yeah, Kanye shrugged. Big thing. we keep it moving. Like this is something that's a normal thing what we see all NBA players do. And we just shrug.
But here's the thing, though. If you're playing with 2 other All-Stars, I mean, it's hard for me to understand how much more help you need.
Well, this is the reason why. See, here's where the psychology comes in. See that Kevin Love deal? They're never going to make the trade for Carmelo for that.
I agree.
But here's the thing. That's to wake Kevin Love's ass up. Say you best do some more. Don't think you're feeling that comfortable and you can't get traded tomorrow.
Okay. I wouldn't say anything, but I think if I'm not mistaken, he's averaging 20 and 11 on the season.
I'm not saying Kevin Love's not playing well. All I'm saying is here is like, you know what? You can do more. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You don't think you just put up numbers, you just gotta sit back and relax. You can do more in this case here. And I think that's the point. What I'm saying is this part, that when you have nights when LeBron has to take a night off, doing the resting in this case here, there's no way you should be getting drummed by Detroit by 30 points. With the 2 other All-Stars of your team and all this great talent you're talking about. That's what he's seeing. I take a night off on back-to-back, and you guys are getting drummed by 25, in this case by Detroit. And I'm a Pistons fan. I'm sitting there going, getting drummed by 25, really?
Well, I mean, I think the signature loss, if you want to call it that, the one that really stood out is the one against the Pelicans without Anthony Davis, and they got beat.
Right.
All 3 of them played in that game.
Right. And I think that's where he pretty much was like, what the heck? Because guys in this case, I think, are getting too comfortable and just feel themselves a little bit. They got the big win on Christmas Day and life feeling good. And they, wow, boy, look at us, boy. We run around here, Kyrie, talk about, oh, he's the best player LeBron ever played with, blah, blah, this and that, the next thing. Guys feeling nice. Guys getting covers. Guys getting all-star teams. Since that big win, it's been kind of scattershot since. It's like
guys getting Kardashians.
Right, yeah, exactly. Everyone's feeling sweet now. It's like, oh, really? We're feeling sweet now, huh? And I see LeBron's like saying, I've seen some bad habits starting up. I think he's trying to nip that in the bud. And if he got scared of living, guys, in this case, they might get traded, so be it. Because he ain't coming around here to be friends with folks.
No, it's not coming, but the bad habits that you're talking about, I mean, I've seen some from him as well.
I think
there has to be a little bit of self-reflection.
Right. I think in this case here, I think in the past he said that as well too. But I think his mindset is that if I'm playing 38 minutes a night and doing all this, I think the outcome's going to be in this case here that when you're asking, well, how come his shooting percentage is lower? How come he's turning over the ball this much? Well, if you're asking to do all these things in this case here, well, what's going to end up happening? That's what's going to end up happening.
I mean, I agree to a certain extent. That's why I said, it's on the coaching staff to figure certain things out.
Yeah, like I hear this in this case. Everyone has their different styles. Look, I mean, we've seen different ones over the years in this case here. Look, LeBron has this way of kind of going about it this way where he kind of throws subliminals or lack of subliminals, you want to call it in this case here. I mean, we've seen
aggressiveness.
Yeah, true, but Jordan's had his too in this case. In this case, where Jordan's pretty much had his comments about guys in this case as well too. I mean, especially those early days, some of the comments he used to say about stuff, about Horace Grant and others, I remember he saying some shady type of things where Horace Grant had to back him up, like, yo, what are you trying to say? So, like, guys have said stuff to get underneath guys' skin to get in the play better. I remember him saying plenty of times when they took whoops from the Knicks. Well, Scotty and Horace got to get it together. I remember plenty of those type of press conferences. It wasn't him shooting 28%. It was Scotty and Horace got to give more. And they come out and then whoop New York's next game. But Horace Grant didn't take lightly that. But I remember those type of comments. But folks got down like, nice rose-colored glasses and forget those days in this case here when those type of comments used to happen. And not just Jordan, as plenty others in this case, he used to do the same thing. Star players say the same thing, call out dudes. So I just see it as this. I know this is one of your things. I'm actually becoming you at this point. Everyone getting a little kind of soft in this case because no one now want to talk bad about anybody. And everybody's all buddies and stuff like that. Man, these are nice guys who rip on each other on a daily basis. like Kobe and Shaq used to go at each other like every day a week. It's like, okay, this dude here needs to do this. This dude here running the court. And you get the ball to run the court. That was Kobe telling that to Shaq. And no one lost sleep. We're like, okay. Next game, we move on. Shot making some blows with Kobe. Well, you know what? We got to move the ball, pass the ball more. Some guys ain't pass the ball more. And then Kobe said, I don't know who he talking about. We see it all the time. Now LeBron goes on a rant for about 2 or 3 games about it. And everyone's like, oh, jeez. Oh, let's get Kleenexes for folks. Like, give me a break. Like, come on. Come on. Really? Man. You always talk about guys getting soft in the league. Like, really? This is the big uproar. Like, really?
No, the fact is, it's not that he's calling guys out. It's the fact of you're handpicking your situation. The last 2 times you switched teams, you're handpicking the situation. You're constructing the team and the environment that you want. And then you complain about it after. So at some point, if you make your bed, you have to lay in it and deal with those decisions.
See, and I think this case here, I think LeBron's IQ is as high as any basketball player we ever see. I think LeBron's seen some things and saying this team is not right. So I think LeBron's saying, and trust back your point, I would say in this case here, the track record's been pretty good when you constructed teams. So you may want to listen to what he's telling you. Something ain't right in the oil or in the milk here. Something ain't right.
Yeah, but okay. That's what I'm saying. He had a large influence on the construction of the team. So don't go criticizing the GM now. The GM's not doing his job. Look in the mirror and criticize you because you put this team together.
Well, I think in this case here, he's saying in this case, if guys are not bringing it, if guys are not bringing it in this case here, the GM should look to tweak stuff. I think he's trying to give a heads up like, dude, guys are too comfortable on this team. I watch them out there. You're having a good old time out there, man. I remember the night when they got whooped by Milwaukee. I'm sitting there going like, okay, are you guys going to turn on the Jets at some point? And guys like, oh, don't worry about it. It's like, I'm watching Milwaukee run away with this game. I'm sitting there going like, anyone planning to do anything here? Nope, nothing happening. Lou just pretty much said, I'm sick of seeing everybody, including Brown. He just said, everyone just bench the 4th quarter. Because the guys just thought this was like, Milwaukee just fold up and just call it a day. And it didn't happen. I was sitting there watching, it's like, no urgency whatsoever. No, I'm just sitting there going, like, you know what? That was Milwaukee just after Boxing Day. I remember watching that game, like, That was then. So this ain't something that just happened the last 2-3 weeks. That was happening from just after Christmas. Before the Christmas Day game, folks started feeling themselves too much.
And I think the other thing that their team as a whole has to realize, and this is where he could definitely give some insights into it, is when you're the defending champions, guys are giving you their best shot every night.
Yep.
So like the rest of the team, those guys have to. I mean, obviously that's something they need to realize, and I think that's something if he hasn't already, I'm sure he has.
Yeah.
But I think that type of experience and insights is where I think he can add a lot of value on the court.
Yeah. Well, we'll wrap it up here. We weren't planning to get to LeBron, but as usual, LeBron always has a way of churning things up. So we'll leave it at that. Ravi, where can the good folks find you, man?
You guys can find me at Ravi to Ride on Instagram.
Okay, and you can always find me in this case here at Beyond Locker Room, short for RM. And guys, once again, we'll try to keep these a little more consistent in the second half of the year, man. We'll do our best, man. But thanks for the support. Talk to y'all later.
We're sitting out with rest.
Rest, yes, rest. Later.